So I'm Rivera's son. I am the Pace y Bene coordinator for Campaign Nonviolence, which, as you know, is a long-term movement to build a culture of peace and active nonviolence, free from war, poverty, racism, and environmental destruction. Every year in September, we organize an annual week of actions. Last year, we had 4,000 actions and events in all 50 states and dozens of countries. This year, we already have 3,300 actions planned. Some of them are incredibly creative, and all of them are exactly what our world needs right now. I just heard about a wonderful action being planned in Alabama to have the young people create poetry and art for the Action Week, and then to have an intergenerational group of people sharing that poetry and art all over. So I'm very excited for tonight's session. We've been doing monthly skill building sessions in media, in connecting the dots between the issues, in all sorts of things. But tonight we're going to talk about how to amplify with art. And I just want to start us off by sharing just one slide, which is a great story about why I know this is so important. So here in Taos, New Mexico, a couple of years ago, when Israel was bombing Gaza, this happened more recently, but a couple of years ago, we decided to make a giant banner that recreated Guernica, and took that famous piece of art by Picasso, but put in imagery that was coming out of Gaza at the time. We took it down to our local farmers market on the plaza, and we paraded around the plaza with, maybe there were a couple hundred people there. Then we put this image on Facebook and social media, and tens of thousands of people saw it because they started sharing it. And then we got contacted by the Reina Sofia Museum in Spain that said, we're putting together a traveling Picasso exhibit, and we'd like to show a slide of your banner, because we feel that this piece of art transcends the original art to get back to the original meaning, which is to adapt the art, but stay true to the anti-war message. So this is just a really short story about why I care so passionately about the idea that we can amplify with art, that art can not only get our message out there and start to get people's attention, but it also can get people involved in the very work that we're doing. And nobody does that better, in my mind, than Laurie Marshall, who is a longtime friend of mine, but also does these incredible art pieces participatorily with, I don't know what you're up to now, Laurie. I think there's 80, 90, 100 of your murals that you've created. I hope you'll tell them the exact answer. But she has really she has walked the talk of how to use art as a transformative process, as a participatory process, and as a process of envisioning and promoting a culture of change, a culture rooted in change, and a culture of peace, nonviolence, welcoming, inclusion, all the other words that we use to describe this culture of nonviolence that we at Pace Bene promote day in and day out all throughout the year. So Laurie, thank you so much. Welcome, and I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you, Rivera. I'm honored to be here. And before I get started, I would love to hear where each person is and what brought you here. That will just help me focus my comments. And I'm going to just call on people as I see them. So Kim, where are you located and what brought you here?
So my main studio is in Oakland, California. I'm nearby right now in Castro Valley in my home studio. And I am here because I've been doing art with an activist message for 7 years, but I'm very poor at knowing how to send it out or who to connect with for it to be effective in any way. And I thought I might join this. Maybe I would learn something that would help with that. Or else also maybe I would learn something that would make the work that I'm doing more effective.
Beautiful. Thank you. How about you, Benita?
I'm in Alabama. Um, why not be here? And I'm in Alabama.
Wow.
Um, I was introduced to the work through Robert Farrell. I'm in an interfaith mission service group, and I wanted to learn more. And this just feels right.
Awesome. God love you for being in Alabama. How about you, Paula?
Oh, hi. I'm in Berkeley, not too far from you, Kim. And I've been involved in peace and justice for like decades. But and I've been artistic in my own way for spiritual and personal ways. But I would really feel right now sort of challenged with the way the national, well, of course, international, but national issues are so so big, but and affect so many different people, but we're all so far apart. And so I'm trying to find more ways to engage people and connect in a more, I don't know, Zoom friendly even, or a distance, from a distance. And I think art is a way to do some of that. So I want to see what we can do.
Beautiful. How about you, Kathy?
Okay, hi, I'm in Nebraska, and I'm working with Nebraskans for Peace to try to get more nonviolence activities going around the state. So I'm trying to get more people involved from the board of directors too. So I'm doing everything I can to learn more on different areas, to draw different people in on the areas that interest them. So I know there's several people that are very creative, and I'm hoping that by learning more from tonight, I'm going to be able to pass some enthusiasm along to other people, because they're very creative. They just don't know where to take it as far as the nonviolence realm. So
Beautiful. How about you, Diana?
I'm in Charles City, Iowa, a parish worker there, and also part of a religious community out of Dubuque, Iowa. And I'm here mainly just to get some ideas. Last year was our first year our social justice committee focused on nonviolence, and I just thought maybe this would just give us some more ideas that I can share with our committee and go from there.
Beautiful. And Miss Leslie, I'm so happy to see you here. Can you unmute?
I think that's the motto for 2021.
Got it. Yeah. Unmute yourself. So my name is Leslie, and I'm in Oakland, California, so very close to Berkeley and Castro Valley. And yeah, I mean, I'm very much interested in how to personally get involved in more social justice, earth justice work, nonviolent action, and how to tap in with the community of folks that are doing that, and then how to do it myself. It's something that it's just really speaking to me right now. I know Laurie from her Singing Tree project. So I don't know if you spoke about that because I came in late, but in any event, using art in a collaborative fashion to help resolve issues in communities or heal common heartbreaks. So that is a project that I took on with her last year, and yeah, I'm really excited about that. I just want to keep my momentum going.
Thank you. And how about you, Linda?
Hi, I'm Linda and I live in Canton, Ohio. And I'm not sure how to pronounce the organization. Is it Pace and Bene?
Pace y Bene.
Pace y
Close,
Bene.
yeah.
And I get your quotes every day. And at the church where I am a new member, I'm going to have a first annual art show on for community artists on October 8th, and I thought I could, and we're going to have a 15-minute readers theater, and I've stole a lot of the quotes from your organization, and I just thought I could maybe get some ideas for that.
Beautiful. And is Bonita Gill a different person than Bonita? That's you? Yeah, okay. Well, this is very exciting and so happy to have all of you come. And now
Laurie, it's kind of hard to hear you.
oh, okay. Let's see if I go closer. Is that better?
Yeah, thanks.
Only a little bit, Laurie. One of the things you could try to do is, I think you had headphones plugged in before. Can
I
you?
did, but for some reason they stopped working.
Oh,
Let me try again. But
Yep. Let's plug those in, and then let's try down by your mute button, that little arrow, and make sure that your built-in output
they're
is
not
selected.
working.
They're not
I
working for
can't
you.
hear anyone. Ah,
Okay.
they just died.
Okay. Well,
Hear me okay?
yeah, you're a little faint, but I think that you're close enough that we can turn up our volume and maybe hear you a little better.
Run, go get another pair of headphones, if that would be helpful.
What do you guys think? Should she get her headphones or is she okay? Okay.
Okay.
It's all right.
Alrighty. So here we go. Welcome to Amplifying with Art. This image behind you is the singing tree of climate solutions that was made by high school kids, 350 of them working together. And we used Project Drawdown to look at different climate solutions, and then we put it creatively together. This is 8 feet high by 12 feet wide. The purpose of this Amplifying with Art to me is summarized by Sherry Mitchell, who is of the Penobscot tribe in Maine. She's a lawyer, and I met her through Rivera, studying nonviolence with Rivera. And she said, I have to remove everybody because I can't see it. Whoops, sorry. If we hope to create a new reality, we have to shift our emotional energy away from the reality being presented and focus on the reality that we wish to create. This image is called The Singing Tree of What Makes America Great, and it was made in 2017 by Republicans and Democrats to focus on the qualities that we want to amplify. And that is a structure that I find to be very powerful and effective, to keep asking what are the qualities that we want to amplify. And the village is the way that human beings have lived together for millions of years. As hunters and gatherers, we gathered as in tribal units that was a village where we all sang together and danced together. We made our symbols, we ate together, we cared for the children, we cared for the elders, and we told stories, and everyone was honored. That system of human interaction is filled with success, and it's what we're missing today. And we have a new person here.
I can get them, Laurie. Don't worry about it.
So I would like to share a dance that is very hard hitting. And I use it as an example of turning something that is very tough, which is the rape culture on our planet, and to share how people around the planet are using dance and song to address it. So that is an example of very simple, with people just we're using rhythm and a very simple blindfold to amplify that what's important is to stop blaming the victims for rape. And any protest is a way of saying, stop, this is important, as well as any painting is a way of saying, stop, this is important. And this is one of my paintings that I did a series of 45 portraits of my 5th grade students in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to bring attention to their divinity and their beauty and their dreams. I want to welcome you. If you have some comment that you want to make as I'm talking, that you can shout out. So JR demonstrates that people are important. Whoops, I'm sorry, I'm going the wrong direction. Here we go. Plasters them on the side of buildings. This is in the favela of Rio de Janeiro. Instead of making billboards of rich people and fancy models, he makes portraits of the people who live there and says these human beings are important. Here's one that he did on the steps. Mona Karan demonstrates that dandelions are important. And for those of you who know Rivera's son, her dandelion trilogy is an amazing work of imagination and hope. And the dandelion is the symbol of that which perseveres and comes back and grows. And Mona makes these huge portraits of weeds. If graffiti changed anything, it would be illegal. This is Banksy pointing to the power of making your mark. And I love the handprint of the little rat, the little graffiti rat. Benjamin Suarez is a young artist who has something called the Goodness Tour. He travels to places that have been ravaged by hurricane, weather, and war, and makes collaborative murals. He works with UNICEF These are murals that he made after the volcanic eruption of Saint Soufriere in Grenadine. And the community helps to design and to paint these. And he takes responsibility for the overall completion of it. Lily Ye is one of my mentors and heroes. She's been making art in abandoned lots in Philadelphia and throughout Rwanda and in her native China. She uses tiles, and her driving force is to make beauty from the brokenness. She has large community murals, and this is another one that was in a Chinese hospital. And I may have that wrong. I'm not sure where this mural is because I see if that flag does not look Chinese. And Thomas More, who wrote Care of the Soul, said that the soul dwells in imagination. And the more imagination that we add to our protests, to how we express the world we want to see, the more infectious it is to connect other people to their souls. We can up our game in making visual statements. And this is a painting that I made for a church in Marin County here where I live, to bring attention to the children that are being separated. This was on canvas, and I think it's about 6 feet wide, about 6 feet by 6 feet. And I want to share the Singing Tree Project some more, which Leslie is a facilitator trained in. And it's a village building through art program that's inspired by nature. And village building is another way of saying peace building. And this image was done virtually. One of you mentioned, you're looking for ways that people can create virtual, because now we know it can be done, and we can play with people all over the world. This was done by the first cohort of Singing Tree facilitators just as COVID began, and it's called The Singing Tree of Embracing Our Unknown. And everybody made little studies after we came up with our theme, and I glued the studies on. This is a piece of canvas, and the birds and the leaves are all glued on. People did them at home, photographed them, sent them to me. I printed them and then glued them. The Singing Tree Project began by listening to children and using story. In 1999, this little girl said to me, after seeing a mural that I made with her whole school, I wish the whole world could see our painting, and then the whole world would be happy. And then she said, what if the whole world made a painting together? And that vision of all humans creating together tapped into my heart and longing for there to be peace on earth. And she was the catalyst. And somebody handed me this incredible book called The Singing Tree. Can you give a shout out if you have heard of this book or read it? Nobody's heard of it? It's a wonderful middle school book about World War I, and shows all the different tribalism of European people, the Germans hating the Germans hating the Russians, hating the Gypsies, hating the Hungarians, hating the Jews, everybody hating each other. And Kate Sarady's father was a Hungarian soldier. And one night, all his battalion crawled on their bellies to escape the Russians, and everything had been destroyed by war. And when the dawn came, one tree had survived, and in that tree were birds who aren't normally together, singing a song that had never been heard before. And that image, that story, gave me the picture of a tree on the earth in space as a symbol for our earth being the singing tree of the galaxy. Because for billions of miles, there's no life that we know of yet. And we can choose to destroy our precious planet and each other, or we can create beauty that has never been seen before. This is the blood dragon singing tree to prevent extinction, which was created, inspired by a 7-year-old girl who cared deeply about the fact that animals are going extinct. And instead of adding leaves to the singing tree, we added animals. So 21,000 people from 52 countries have created a forest of 101 singing tree murals so far. And you're looking at the singing tree of water, one of the singing trees of water. The structure of the singing tree, of a tree on the earth in space, it demonstrates that collaboration is possible, powerful, and beautiful. We need these examples of this because people don't believe collaboration is possible. They don't believe peace is possible. They give in to resignation and cynicism. Each singing tree envisions success to a community challenge or heartbreak. This is the water willow singing tree, which focuses on water is life. And this tree was made by high school students in a computer design class, a painting class, and an industrial design class. And I love how the teenagers communicate that human life is intertwined with the life of the tree and the planet. The leaves are water drops and teardrops. So I want to share a short video of 2 years of singing tree projects so you can get a glimpse of the forest. Thank you for watching. I want to share that now I'm training facilitators, and these are 2 singing trees that were made by facilitators. The one on the left is the singing trees of celebrating our true value that was made by women from Syria, Lebanon, Germany, France, and England with a Polish English facilitator. And the one on the right is the magnolia singing tree of our inner wellspring that was made with people who have lost homes to fires in Northern California. So now I'd like to stop the share and hear from you all what's rising up hearing this, and then Rivera has some wonderful examples to share.
Well, I can just jump right in and just mention that one of the reasons that I was so excited to share this work of the singing trees is because of the way that the art embeds the peace building process. And here we are at Campaign Nonviolence. We're setting out to build a culture of active nonviolence. And the question is always, how do we do that, right? And many of us think, oh, we're going to go stop all the violence, right? Which is great. Let's do that. But simultaneously, let's do the other hand of nonviolence. So one hand says stop and no to the problems, and the other hand says yes to the solutions, yes to the humans, yes to the possibilities. And to me, the work that you do with art really sits firmly in that hand of yes. Let's create that vision. Let's fill our world, not just with speaking it into the space or creative visioning, but also doing a project where our differences, maybe we have to run up against them, as in the case of the singing tree of what makes America great, right? Maybe we have to have a conversation about why forming a militia gets to be on the singing tree, right? Or why LGBTQ rights get to be on the singing tree from somebody else's perspective. So it's doing the work in the process. It's building that culture of peace, building that culture of peace building. And at the end of it, you have something that, goes up as a reminder in our communities of what this is all about, what this looks like and feels like. So I find that very exciting. And as with the other stories you shared, Laurie, from other examples of people around the world, art in the public spaces has such a powerful potential for reminding us to think again, to respect. Respect is a word that comes from spect, to look, and to look again, at our visions of our communities, at what they could be. So thank you for all that. And then I'll pass the mic to Linda, because I saw you popped off mute and maybe you have something to add.
Oh, what did you want me to say? I'm sorry.
I thought you wanted to say a response to Laurie.
I don't know what I was going to say, but just before I just came home, and that's why I'm a little bit late to this. And there was an interview on NPR about a really jolly sounding nihilist, and he wrote a book called In the Dust of the Earth. And what I want to say is, how do we counter the negativity? Explicitly, what I'm talking about is somebody whose argument is, but sometimes there is a right and there is a wrong, and it's naive to say that you can bring everybody together. Sometimes the wrong has to be confronted. So that's what I'm thinking.
That framework is a win-lose framework. And we are inundated with win-lose frameworks, and we need win-win frameworks. I'm sorry, right or wrong isn't as important as what are your needs and what are my needs. And my needs are not more important than your needs. And for me, the right and wrong is a mindset that is win-lose.
Like a dualistic mindset.
Yes.
Mm.
And we need to be more creative than that. We don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And being right has killed millions and millions of people. Hitler was right about the Jews, right? So time for a abundant, non-dualistic solution to our problems. So thank you
Yeah.
for bringing that up.
That's a good reminder that, many acts of violence have been perpetrated because those doing it believe they are so right and righteous in what they're doing. But that's why those two hands of nonviolence, this is a framework that comes to us from Barbara Deming, by the way, is so important, is because we need to be able to say no to things, right? We need to be able to say, I need to say that you can no longer abuse me. Right? You cannot put that pipeline through our community and poison our water. We are not going to allow police to shoot people anymore, right? Racism is not acceptable in our institutions and our societies. On the other hand, our solution to this is not to just exterminate everybody who's been part of that problem, but rather to open the hand towards their humanity and open the hand to a solution that maybe works for our whole society. And that doesn't mean that we allow the injustice to continue, but it means that we are part of a creative, nonviolent process of transforming this conflict that we find ourselves in, right?
Yeah. We'd love to hear any other feelings or thoughts that came up for you, seeing the different possibilities that I just shared.
Okay. I just wanted to say that it occurs to me, that the beauty of doing peace building through art is that it's nonverbal, that it gets people out of their heads, out of labeling things. Everything is, right, wrong, whatever. And more into thinking about solutions. I think that when people are actually making the art together, there's a firing of some fantastic new energy around how to see an issue. And I don't know, I just thought I would mention that. I mean, it just strikes me that that's so with visual art.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually thinking the same thing, Leslie, in terms of the images, and I was reacting to the fact that a lot of the leaves or things that people put on or added to the murals had a lot of words, which is fine. I'm not going to criticize that, but that one, I find that even I have really kind of been stuck in the verbal, and especially in the last year and a half with everything being on Zoom, I have lost my sort of artistic creativity because I'm always trying to convey it through words, or it just doesn't get across, and I just haven't spent the time. Mostly that's it, to just put my images that I might have in meditation or my creation, imagination, onto paper or onto something. And I remember when I started all this, they didn't have computers. So we drew all of our stuff. We made all of our flyers and all of our newsletters and everything, and all the liturgy programs were all with hand drawing, and I stayed with that even after computers for a while, because I really liked the drawing, but it did sort of force me out of that, because it wasn't as, it didn't fit the thing, and it wasn't as efficient or whatever. It didn't, so I just feel that difference, and that I have to keep forcing myself to go back to that, non-electric, the more personal and physical. So.
Well, we hope this gives you support to do that. Kathy, yes.
What I was thinking when I was watching that, and when you were discussing the other day, there was a bunch of kids with DACA took a mural down to our local congressperson's office, and they made this mural, all these, well, they're not kids. They're in their most of them right now are in their, late teens, early 20s, or later 20s even. And they took this mural down, and they had these drops on it that looked like either teardrops or raindrops or something. And each drop represented a story of a DACA person that wanted to deliver their immigration message to the congressman. And it was a really long banner, and we held it up. And of course, the news media showed up. But then when you were talking about this, I'm thinking a way to bring other people into that project is to get gringos, to work with them and actually have drops for our stories as well, or different intergenerational. I mean, that's the stuff that's going through my mind right now. It's like how we can get the young adults to work with other people that don't necessarily hold the same views, but have their own immigrant stories, their own family stories, their own, that kind of story. So that would be a way to do an art project too, that would merge a bunch of stuff. So I got excited when I was listening to all this stuff. I'm going, oh wait, I'm thinking some, yeah. So bravo, thank you for these mural things. It's just good stuff.
What you say reminds me of peace talks between Arabs and Israelis that had gone on for 2 years, and nothing brought them forward. They were just batting each other's head until somebody's truck broke down, and they all went out and they fixed the truck. And when they fixed the truck together, they came back and they could finally make some headway. So that common experience of doing something together is very powerful, and doing it also not just in the heat of the conflict and the issue that is right on your breathing on your neck. I think there's a wonderful place, and Rivera is going to share some wonderful ways of responding when the dragon is breathing on your neck. So doing, as Rivera was saying, some of the groundwork when that's not happening, as well as when it is happening.
The other thing I'll just briefly mention this, I know you have to go on, but what I really liked a lot was the contribution of so many different people. And I think back to the times when we've used, say, peace cranes, and everybody would send a peace crane, and then there would be hanging thousands and thousands of them. So just not just the size, but the numbers also makes a big difference. And so, because size was turning me off for a moment, I was thinking, well, where would I put a mural? But I think that something with an addition of a lot of different people, that would be more doable for me.
And murals can go outside and inside. They can go outside with UV paint protector, and they won't last 50 years, but they'll last a nice good 5 years and really change the space.
And some of the elements that went into these singing tree murals are very small, actually. A leaf, so you can have a lot of leaves, and or birds or whatnot. It includes a lot of different people. So that was true for the project that I did. It's nice.
Yes, Kim.
So for me, as I reflect on this, it kind of brings up a conundrum, because what we're looking at is creating art as a vehicle for building community. And where I wind up working myself most often is the kind of art that I feel like I need to do. Like I could do that, building art as a vehicle for community, but that's not the art that I center on. The art that I center on is a contemplative experience. And so, is there a place for that here? And what is it?
Interestingly, that when we create the singing trees, often there's a small lead design team, maybe 15 people, and the being born out of the unknown is a very contemplative place. So if you hold on one second. We were just making yin yang paintings, the facilitators and I, and this as a symbol of the singing tree process, where we never know what it's going to look like. It's in the darkness, in the unknowable, in the unseen. And as the design emerges from this contemplation, then we complete it, which is that yang energy of getting it done.
Okay, so part of what I mean is, in order to create, I am alone and I'm pulling from that darkness, and I'm not coming at it from somewhere else like, okay, I'm going to create a yin yang and now I'm going to do this. And that's it becomes something I can't even do with somebody else. It's about my interaction with this other space that I draw from.
That's
right?
beautiful. Yeah.
And so what comes out is what comes out. But that's kind of a simplistic way of saying it. There's like way more that goes into it than that. But it is very solitary. And actually, when I finish with it, I have the hardest time connecting with anybody. And so it makes it very hard to get the work out, because I am in a space that is secluded at that point. But often the work that I'm doing is tapping right into some of the themes that are coming up with Pachi Bene and nonviolence work and such. And so I guess that's partly where I'm having trouble connecting.
And do you, in your, I'd love to hear from you, Paul. I just want to ask one thing. Are you feeling connected to source?
Yes.
Yeah. And I think without that connection, we can't have peace on earth. I mean, I think, and how it gets expressed is completely perfect for your,
Right.
your
But
being.
it hardly anybody sees it. And, you know, I make it, few people see it, or, you know, maybe I have a show, or maybe I don't even ever get to have a show. And then it's like rolled up in the dark. That's it.
I believe you'll find a path that lets your light shine, that lets source support yourself and see what happens from there. I'd love for Rivera to share her things, and then Paul, if you can just hold on to your thought. Rivera has some wonderful concepts to share, and then we want to get to making art as well.
Great. Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you for this great conversation. And Kim, that question of, you know, where is that intersection between the personal process around art and then the public process around art, right? And so when do we make things because we are working on an issue, right? When do we make things because we want our community to come together and work on an issue? And when do we want to take something we've made personally and find a creative way to get it out there? I mean, we saw an image from Banksy. Banksy is one of the most secretive, solitary, personal process-based artists in the world. We don't even know who Banksy really is. This graffiti artist who does just amazing political art. And the one thing that makes us know about him is that he ultimately has a vision for how the public's going to interface with that art, where they're going to see it, where that wall's going to be. Right. And then people take photos of it and they put it online. And so we see it digitally. Right. So that's just one example of someone who actually has a very secretive personal process around art that then actually has a global impact. Other things you can do is just thinking about all the different variations of how people encounter a message or art. You know, is it in the Extinction Rebellion, people were actually painting rocks with images and messages about the climate crisis and just slipping them like on the little walkway right outside of the supermarket as the pandemic came in, right? So there's a lot of different ways. And as Benita is saying in the chat box, as Laurie is saying, there's no one right or wrong way, right? It's an investigation of a very highest artistic level. So I'm going to share some of these slides now. And just rather quickly, in Campaign Nonviolence, we've done all sorts of things. We actually did coordinate the folding of 80,000 paper cranes sent to Los Alamos on the anniversary of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, with being folded from people all over the world. We have people in Arkansas who paint a giant peace mural in their community every single year for Peace Week. We've had this beautiful action that goes on Peace Day in Florida, where the children write their messages for peace and hang them on the peace tree in the public park. You know, a lot of the things that we do are typical nonviolent actions where people march, they hold banners and signs, they write on you know, pieces of cardboard. This guy over here is carrying a peace pole. But when we get creative, we start to see ways that we can really amplify the message. So here in this photo, this is an action against anti-Asian hate. And you actually can see a lot of different mediums, right? So there's the classic protest sign written with a Sharpie, but there's also this beautiful poster printed out and put on cardboard, cardstock. But then there's also, look over here on the right, here's a woman who's actually wearing a t-shirt as a piece of art protest. And these women are carrying flowers as well. So already we have 5 different kinds of art vehicles for getting a message across. This is a recent art action that happened all over the country where dozens of artists made individual posters. They collected them in a central site for the Defund Line 3 campaign, and the people could download them and print them out and then wheat paste them all over their community. In this image, you see that people gathered together to paint a mural on the street, but they also have these banners that you can see around the mural, and they have a giant puppet over here blockading access to US Bank. This is an interesting piece of art action because the art in this are these sunflower umbrellas that are used as a symbol of the climate movement. And the action is that these people are blockading the railroad tracks so the coal trains can't come in and out of a Portland rail yard. So imagine if there were no umbrellas. First of all, they would be in the hot sun or exposed to the rain, depending on the weather of the day. But also, it'd be so much less visually striking. We would just see some people in the background, but now we know that something is up for climate justice. I work a lot with an organization called Backbone Campaign, who are infamous for a lot of artful activism, but one of the things they really pioneered and now have teams all over the US doing is light brigades and light projections. So this opens up a whole arena of time, right? The dusk into dark time for doing protests. And in this one, they're actually projecting from quite a long way away onto a building. And I believe this building is actually in danger of people getting evicted because of the pandemic economic downturn. So again, artful activism in a very creative way. This is a famous piece of artful activism on the border wall, which, as we know, is this horrible, ugly set of metal pipes. And so an artist installed these pink seesaws, and it takes people on both sides of the border to make the fun and the joy come alive. This is a very creative action. Unhoused persons in Oakland came together and they took over this vacant lot. And they didn't ask anyone's permission. They just built these cob-based tiny houses with all of their beauty and their creativity. Bread and Puppet Theater, this is yet another kind of way that you can engage art in your demonstrations. So Bread and Puppet Theater is a famous protest theater. They are based in Vermont. They used to do demonstrations all over the country, including in New York City. But they use banners and flags and people with masks and giant puppets to get their message across. Another way that you can engage art is with costume and ritual and ceremony. This is Extinction Rebellion's Red Brigade. They also have a Blue Brigade, for example, and a Green Brigade. But what they are doing is they're holding a revival for this forest that had been clear cut. As you can see, the trees were cut down, and then there's a little green tree that they've planted. And as their act of protest, they're saying no to the clear cutting and yes to planting and reviving that forest. And then last but certainly not least, I want to remember that art also happens audially, so music and physically, dance. This is Joy to the Polls during the elections in 2020, de-escalating the tensions and the threat of violence by using dance and music. And as the shirt proclaims, joy as a revolutionary force. So I hope that inspires your imagination to think about all kinds of different ways that art could be part of the work that you do. In the Campaign Nonviolence Action Week, we're really hoping that you'll infuse what you're doing with art in your unique ways. We don't have a cookie cutter template for this. And we hope that you'll really think about how art can draw people in. If you think about Laurie's singing tree projects, those 21,000 people, a lot of them probably had not ever been to a protest in their life before. Certainly, most of them had never, locked down and blockaded a pipeline. But there they were. And there's something really subversively compelling about art as an invitation to join a movement, right? Many people who would not be caught dead walking on a picket line would love to show up and paint a mural in support of even workers' rights, right? So art is subversive, it's participatory, and then ultimately, it really does an amazing job of amplifying your message. And again, one of the things that we keep saying for Action Week is BYOP, bring your own photographer or bring your own phones, right? As I showed you in that slide about our Gaza equals Guernica action, we actually invite professional photographers in our area in Taos to join our actions as photographers. And I'll send them a special email. I'll say, I don't need you to carry the banner. I don't need you to bang the drum. I need you to come, bring your camera, take those photos, and then get them to me by that evening. Because that's when the news cycle wants it. That's when my friends who have been taking action for Gaza all over the country want to see what we did in Taos. So find those people in your community. And the other people besides for professional photographers who are great is asking young people to come and do it on their phones. And it's such a great way to ask young people who may be a little shy to participate to have a role in the action that they may actually love. All right. So Laurie, I'm going to pass the mic to you. Thank you all for listening.
Yeah, so we're going to end with an invitation for you to make an image. And what's coming to me now is to make I'm going to give you some bunch of ideas and you can do whatever comes to you, to make a circle. And within that circle, to visualize yourself as a peace leader, as a magnificent, powerful, unique, loving, vibrant, creative peace leader. And inside of your circle, so I made a circle to do a self-portrait. And it could be you want to do a self-portrait in abstract shapes, or it could be you could do a self-portrait as an animal. But you came to this gathering because you are a peace leader. You care about it. You want it to have happen, and we want it to have happen. So we're going to take about 10 minutes. Oh, before we do that, I wanted to share one other slide to just fertilize your imagination a little bit. And that is these 5 simple shapes occur in all cultures, in all human cultures and throughout time. And I want lot of people are very shy about drawing and say they can't draw. So these 5 simple shapes are ways that you can um, immediately be in command of different ways of communicating. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a comment to add to this. So the reason we're doing this art practicum, let's say, is because oftentimes we start to think, oh, all these great artful actions, that's what somebody else does. But tonight we want you to just get your hands in the mud, scribble on that paper. Many of you, this isn't familiar territory, but for others, it isn't so much. So actually go through the process of putting that colored pencil or marker to the page, or pen or pencil, right? Get over the hurdle of being a little bit trepidatious about this.
I'm going to ask you to fill up your circle as much as possible so that there's no empty space left, unless you really need an empty space to communicate what is important. And I'm going to play some music by Carlos Nakai, who is of the Hopi tribe, because his work brings us to Mother Earth in a way I value. So here we go. We'll listen to 2 songs. That's going to be about 10 minutes, and then we'll check in. And Kim, if you have to leave, it was so lovely to meet you. Did you hear your daughter's result?
You got second place.
Yay! Awesome.
That's in the country, for all runners in the country.
Oh my God, that is so amazing. I'm so good to meet you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Do you hear the music? So we'll do 5 more minutes about, and then we'll have 10 minutes to debrief. Thank you. I could draw all day. So I'd love to hear what happened with you, and maybe we could do a screenshot with everybody holding up their picture. Would that be okay with everybody? I didn't complete like I asked everyone to. Mine's all in the sun. It's very awesome. Wow. Hello, Sylvia. Can you hold up whatever you made? And Paula, can you hold up whatever you made? Oh, if you have on your background, it's really hard. Linda, can you hold up yours? No? Okay. Oops, oh, there you got it. Okay, let's try again. Oops. Okay. So I'd love to hear from everybody what came through you when you made this. And Kathy, I'm gonna just call on people for the sake of time. Feel free to pass if you want, but it's, you know, creator work through you.
Well, I'm the most inartistic person in the entire world. I'd use words, but anyway, so what I did is I started out with a circle, and it's got there's fuzziness around it, because that's how, as a leader, I always feel kind of in the peace movement, I kind of feel fuzzy and unclear and not, you know, defined. So, but I included a leaf in there because well, I wear a ring that has a leaf on it for simplicity and also the environment. The curlicue thing is always spiraling to something better as people. And then the hands, I was going to do holding hands and walking together, and I can't even do hands. So anyway, those are supposed to be hands. So, and then I ran out of time. So.
And the spiral stands for growth among all cultures.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's fantastic.
Yes, although during this year, it also means spiraling out of control a little bit.
Well, that's part of growth, right? You don't stay. It's growth, it goes into the unknown, always. Yeah.
I want to share now, just because it comes right from that. So
Perfect.
I just want, but I'll have to change my I tried to change my video before and it didn't work, but mine is 3-dimensional.
Oh, how fun!
and I use the spiral, but I wanted, well, a couple things about it. One is that I don't really think that as a leader it comes from me in any way, but I think that I try to what's the word I want? Foster or direct perhaps the energy. And sometimes things, and the other thing about it is I used an envelope, and I wanted to use every piece. So that's why you got lots of little ones. And the idea there is that I'll put it down, but my groups that I've done, I do a lot of group work and then engaging nonviolence and that sort of thing. And I wanted to mention that it's too bad Linda, or what was her name, Kim, had to leave, because what we do a lot is I will just play music like you just did, and for a few minutes, and then just have people draw, you know, random, abstract, whatever, and then we will share them together in the group right then and make something out of that together. And so each piece becomes part of that, either a circle. We kind of sometimes we'll put it around us, and then that will be our sort of our a hug from all of our art. And that's one way that individual and contemplative kind of art can be brought to a community building, and it doesn't have to be just a solo thing. And the other way that I've done it is where people just hang them in, you know, make a flag out of them, sort of hang them in vertically, you know, one after another, one below another, and then just sort of kind of carry it or hold it as a flag. So those are ways that I've done things, and I really like going outside of the 2-dimensional box. So.
Yes, fantastic. So we have 6 minutes left, and I want to be sure everyone can hear. So maybe if we can target it to 30 seconds, just what came up for you. Leslie, would you like to share? You're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. What I did is I just drew up pictures of what gave me strength and makes me whole. And so here's the tree, and the roots that give me some strength and fortitude. The tree also gives me a sense of quiet and stillness, my heart, and of course, myself and all those who are around me, or all the people that are part of what I'm doing. So just my image there.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How about you, Rivera?
Great. I'm sitting here thinking of all the other stories that I keep forgetting about of great art actions. So this is mine with Campaign Nonviolence, and actually I'm the river that I'm named for. And I didn't expect that. I just started drawing a blue street, and all of a sudden I realized there it is. That's me.
That's awesome.
So thanks.
Thank you. And let's see who else we have here. Diana.
I just have the pencil drawing and hearts and connected. I don't see myself as being the only one there, and the circular spirals just evolving within me and also others, and it goes beyond whatever group I'm with. Hopefully there's heart reaching out to heart and expanding God's love, peace in our world.
I hope you color it. It's gorgeous just the way it is, and it will be amazing if you color it.
I'll have to get color somewhere. I'm not an artist by trade, so I don't have a collection of art things here at the house. So
now you are an artist by trade.
Okay.
Thank you. And Linda, would you be willing to share yours?
Actually, it's very poor. It's just circles. I haven't colored them all in yet.
Yes, they're beautiful spirals. Can you hold it back a little? And a little higher? Oh, a little higher. Oh,
Wow.
yes. It's gorgeous.
Yep.
Yep. And the cross stands for relationship in many cultures.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we had one more person, Sylvia.
I'll pass. Thank you.
And I'll just share mine. I have this me as a leader with holding all these babies, and that with all these wonderful supporters, and the tree is holding on to my leg.
Nice.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for gathering together today. And maybe we can share real quick one word that's in our heart to close up. And I would like to share the word gratitude. I pass it to Kathy.
That was what I was thinking when you said one word. I said I'm grateful. So
beautiful. Pass it to Diana.
Engaging.
Linda.
Joyful.
Leslie.
Connection.
Paula.
Inspire.
Sylvia.
Possibilities.
And Rivera.
Delighted.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Rivera, for inviting me to be with you doing this.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you
Wonderful.
on a future call.
Thank
Go
you.
out
Bye-bye.
and be creative.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.